Welcome into the Devil's Digest game preview as Arizona State gets head to Salt Lake City to take on Utah this coming Saturday. My name's Justin Lacertosa. That's publisher Hope Rubino. Before we get into things, we'd quickly like to thank our sponsors, starting with Burrito Express, the best burrito in the Valley, bar none. 100% fresh ingredients and authentic recipes. They sponsor various ASU athletes, 2 NIL deals, some great prices in 9 Valley locations, along with various Circle K fast and fresh locations where you can grab and go. So go to theburritoexpress.com for more information on all the deals and locations across the Valley. And another thank you to our other sponsor in San Tan Ford. No car dealership in the Valley has helped hook up ASU players with more vehicles than San Tan Ford. So if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, head up the 202 freeway in the Val Vista, go to San Tan Ford, and they'll hook you up on a sweet deal. And Hode, going into Utah and then not looking too far ahead, but next week, Texas Tech. It's pretty easy to say that this is a season-defining 2-game stretch for ASU. How do you feel like they have to come in and approach this one first?
Yeah, without a doubt, Justin, this really is a crossroad moment for Arizona State. I think this is very obvious. Whether you looked at the schedule when it first came out back in the spring, or looked at the schedule as you're going through fall camp, that these are basically going to be the 2 games that are going to define ASU's fate the rest of the season. Are they going to be in position to defend their Big 12 crown or not? I know that ASU is not looking ahead to Texas Tech, so I definitely don't want to generate that sentiment by any means. Maybe for media, for fans, it's easy to look ahead also to next week as well. But in terms of the approach, I just think that when you and I talked about that this 4-1 record is not a bad record by any means. You're undefeated still in Big 12, 2-0. But there's still, as the players like to say, a lot of meat is left on the bone still. And I think that there are some areas that had to be fixed during the bye week. On offense, obviously, the red zone productivity, short-yarded situations. On defense, preventing explosive plays. And if all those shortcomings have been successfully addressed in the bye week, man, are you really going to have the test to show it at Utah this week, and again at home against Texas Tech next week? Those are definitely going to be season-defining games for ASU. So if there's anybody on the team that may feel like, okay, we're judging the Sun Devils too harshly over here, that ultimately 4-1, 2-0 really speaks to itself in terms of how well this team is playing. Well, now you're by far playing the most challenging team on your schedule, and this is just an excellent opportunity to show that you fixed everything you had to fix during the bye week, that you were able to turn the page after 5 games, which again you won 4 out of 5, not a bad success percentage by any points, but you did reveal some shortcomings. You did not play good 4 quarters of football. So now it's really their opportunity on the road, and that's another element. Probably should talk about a little. ASU has still not been able to put a really convincing performance on the road this year. So there's a lot of things for ASU to prove this week at Salt Lake City. Not an easy venue and an easy team to try to prove the supposed advances that you made, but nonetheless a great opportunity for ASU.
Yeah, and this ASU offense hasn't fully put together a complete game yet, but the closest to that was definitely against TCU, where they totaled 492 yards of total offense. But it seems like, as always, this Utah team is coming in as stingy as ever on the defensive side of the ball. So what is ASU's offense going to have to do to kind of clean up on some of those mistakes we've seen so far this season?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positives really to take away from that TCU game, especially from the passing game. I think if Sam Leavitt really plays very well from here on out and ends up having better numbers at the end of the year compared to 2024, you can definitely point to this TCU contest, that TCU win, as the turning point of Sam Leavitt. And this week he gets a weapon which I think can and should make a difference in Jalen Moss. We talked about it in all the games that he did miss, which really was week 2 and on, and I should say really the second half of the season opener and on, that the fact you did not have a slot wide receiver like Jalen Moss really forced ASU to be nearly exclusively in 2 tight end sets. And when you look at the pass protection issues, even that alignment wasn't able to help ASU that much. The short passing game was something that did not come really that easily for ASU. Finally, in the TCU contest, we started to see the signs that you want to see in terms of the passing game being diverse. And now with Jalen Moss coming back to the lineup, sure, he has a lot of rust to knock off, but if he can just add just another more element to this passing game that probably was missing in the last few weeks, that can really help a lot. We also have to mention the fact that against TCU, one reason why the passing game was so successful, it wasn't the Jordan Tyson show. It wasn't Jordan Tyson, maybe two other players. It was actually 8 different wide receivers that were beneficiaries of Sam Leavitt's passes. So I think that's something that has to continue in terms of a trend. Now, as much as I'm talking about the passing game, Justin, it really comes down to the running game. You can say that every game is won and lost in the trenches, but it seems like when you talk about facing Utah, that is just one aspect you cannot overstate. And Utah, by the fact that they're averaging as a defense under 15 points, this is obviously not a defense that you're going to run up and down the field, but ASU, nonetheless, is really going to have to impose their will. We remember the win over here in Tempe last year against Utah, and that was one of those rare occasions where ASU, or I should say Utah opponent, absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage. So that is something that ASU is definitely going to have to prove, and I think the run blocking has been playing better as of late. There's one major change taking place on the offensive line. Wade Helton, the redshirt freshman transfer from Iowa State, who, if you recall, did take a good number of snaps during fall camp at center, moving Ben Coleman to his original left guard position. It's just seen that right after Camp Arizona, they abandoned that approach, but now it looks like it's all come full circle, and Ben Coleman is poised to line up again at left guard and have Wade Helton, the redshirt freshman, line up at center. And look, if we're being honest, this is baptized by fire, and then is facing this lineup against a massive and talented front seven by Utah. So, we'll see how that goes. How does the alignment affect the run blocking? How does the alignment affect the pass protection? Because if you're expecting Sam Leavitt really to continue that momentum, the pass protection is obviously going to be paramount. And I think Sam Leavitt kind of knows deep down Utah was the defense that did knock him out of one game that Cincinnati lost last year. So you kind of wonder how much liberty Sam Leavitt is really going to take with him rushing the ball out there. But if ASU is able to achieve a better pass protection than they really have all year long, then that can really just have Sam Leavitt just be in the pocket, deliver the ball to as many different wide receivers as possible. I think the Utah secondary, definitely compared to the front seven, is very vulnerable. So if ASU can take advantage of that, that can go a long way in terms of having a win. But I would say just overall, the run game really has to be established. I'm not expecting ASU to run anywhere close to 200 yards like they had that little streak going on a few weeks back. But just really presenting that well-rounded offense and showing that they can dominate the line of scrimmage, maybe not for 4 quarters, but at least for a good amount of time, really help the time of possession as well. When you're playing in hostile conditions like Rice-Eccles Stadium, being able to run the ball successfully can really go a long way in taking out that crowd and really increasing your confidence as an offense. So one hell of a challenge for the ASU offense, but we'll see if those changes at the offensive line produce the results the coaches are looking for.
Yeah, and the Sun Devil defense hasn't allowed more than 24 points all season long, but on the other side, this Utah offense is averaging just under 40 points per game, led by a local product in Devin Dampier, and also, as you said, a game that will likely be one in the trenches, one of the better O-lines in the entire country. What is ASU's defense going to have to do to step up to the occasion?
I know a lot of people talk about Sun Devils wide receiver Jordan Tyson, and rightfully so, as being a bona fide first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. But there are 2 other Big 12 players that also mentioned in the same exact vein, and those are the 2 offensive tackles for the Utes, Spencer Fano and Caleb Lumu. So that is a challenge that awaits if ASU's pass rush, their front 6, in trying to affect Dampier. But at the same time, let's be honest about it. This ASU pass rush has been off the charts good. just keep in mind we're not quite at the midpoint of the 2025 season, and the Sun Devils collectively have already notched 19 sacks. All of last year, 11-win season, Big 12 championship, college playoff appearance, they only had 24 sacks in 14 games. So they're well on their way to shatter that number. The tackles for loss are just also way up there. So this is one challenge that I think can be really intriguing. Can this ASU defense, which again have been affecting quarterbacks, affecting running backs of the opponent so well in recent weeks, can they do that against Utah? And if you look at Utah's lone loss, which to Texas Tech, that's how Texas Tech was able to finally tilt the scales in their favor, because when you can limit a true dual threat quarterback like Devin Dampierre to the pocket, make sure he doesn't make any plays with his legs, whether it's bootleg passes, whether it's just running for first downs. I think that is something that can help ASU quite a bit, because as much as success as he has a very high percentage completion. He already has 11 touchdowns, but he's only averaging just over 200 yards passing. So this is not a quarterback that, if he has time to sit in the pocket, can really pick apart secondaries. At least he hasn't shown that until now. So I think if the Sun Devil defense can really force him to be that pocket quarterback, I think that can really help a lot. But again, when you have two stud offensive tackles, that is really much easier said than done. But again, I think it's going to be one hell of a matchup to watch on Saturday night.
Yeah, these two programs obviously know each other very well. Pac-12 foes, now Big 12 foes in their first conference showdown. But ASU historically hasn't done well in Rice-Eccles Stadium the last 8 years. Sun Devils have only won one game in Utah. In the last game, in Kenny Dillingham's first year as head coach, a 52-point loss. History isn't on their side, but what can the Sun Devils do, and what do you expect to see out of the Sun Devils in Utah?
Yeah, I know some people might roll their eyes when you talk about history is not on your side. You know, in this age of NIL and transfer portal, where rosters are just absolutely almost turned upside down in a lot of cases from year to year. But, ultimately the trend is a trend. And winning at Rice-Eccles is a hard thing to do. You know, I don't want to harp too much on the kickoff time, but it is going to be an 8:15 p.m. kickoff. I want to harp too much on the weather, but those really rainy conditions, which team it's really going to affect more? Because I don't know if Utah, if you look just at the passing numbers, is an offense that really gets affected that much if they can't pass the ball very well. But their run game, and don't get me wrong, ASU's rushing attack has been great this year, but Utah is better. So you just wonder, how much those elements can really come to place. I'm really confident that the ASU defense can slow down the Utah offense, but I just don't know if the ASU offense can really do that much damage against the Utah defense. And again, it really goes back to the offensive line changes. I can totally understand where the coaches are coming from. I think that change was necessary. It's kind of ironic that Wade Helton did play 72 snaps against TCU, but he played them at left guard, replacing Jamito Bigbo. So Ben Cohen still remained at center for what you and I just talked about a few minutes ago. From an offensive standpoint, the best performance that ASU had all year long. And here you are just making now even more changes. How is that all going to go against Utah? That's really anybody's question. I'm not saying there's zero reason for optimism, but the burden of proof on this offensive line, whatever lineup they're going to show up with, is really to show that they can establish their dominance, especially in pass blocking. This is a game that, as much as you need to establish a ground game for all the reasons I mentioned, you also need to give Sam Leavitt time to operate, again, because of that very, very vulnerable Utah secondary. So until the offensive line can really prove to me or show to me something they really haven't showed the first 5 games, I think I would have my doubts of ASU being successful on Saturday night. So I'm picking Utah to win 24-20.
All right, thank you, Hoad, for all of your insight. We will be in Utah to catch all of the action, so stay locked in. Go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at DevilsDigest. My name is Justin Lacertosa. That's Publisher Hoad. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors in Burrito Express and Santan Ford. and we'll talk to you guys in Salt Lake City.